My name's Ryan.
I'm Genesis.
I am Kim, and today we're doing music perception.
Music is an art form defined as vocal and instrumental sounds, or both, combined in a way as to produce beauty of form, harmony, and expression of emotion. But what defines music from just sounds or random noises? It is hard to define music because music and the artists who create it are constantly experimenting and breaking through boundaries. The answer depends on each individual's perspective. To me, this is an amazing song, but others could just be horrible noise.
So what makes up music? There are many different components to a musical piece, including harmony, pleasant sound that results when two or more notes are played together; rhythm, the temporal patterning of music, including tempo, beat, and meter, which I'll describe next; tempo, pace at which music is played; meter, the pattern of sound across time; beat, space at pulses that indicate if music is fast or slow; timbre, the way an instrument or voice sounds; melody, rhythmically organized sequence of notes which we perceive as a single unit. All of these elements come together to create a song, and if you actively listen to music, you'll be able to see each part and how it all comes together in harmony.
The neuroanatomy of music. The neuroanatomy of music is interesting because music is an optional feature in human cognition. Music interest varies from each individual, from time spent listening to music, what kind of music you listen to, and different musical traditions you are exposed to. Because of this, the regions of the brain that involve music perception can vary from individual to individual, but we can still generalize what is happening in the brain. As we know, not all sounds are music. Researchers believe that there's a secondary auditory cortex in the temporal lobe that process musical stimuli. fMRI scans show that music perception causes greater activation in the right temporal lobe compared to the left. The right hemisphere is more sensitive to changes in pitch, which is relevant to music. Musical training or learning music can actually make the left side of your brain more active and work more with the right in music perception, allowing your brain to involve meaning and language circuits to help with music perception. An example of this would be musical training allows piano players to control their hands the way they do with lower cortical activation of motor areas of the brain.
Did you know that every time musicians pick up their instruments, there are fireworks going off all over their brain? On the outside, they may look calm and focused, reading the music and making the precise and practiced movements required. But inside their brains, there's a party going on. How do we know this? Well, in the last few decades, neuroscientists have made enormous breakthroughs in understanding how our brains work by monitoring them in real time with instruments like fMRI and PET scanners. When people are hooked up to these machines, tasks such as reading or doing math problems each have corresponding areas of the brain where activity can be observed. But when researchers got the participants to listen to music, they saw fireworks. Multiple areas of their brains were lighting up at once as they processed the sound, took it apart to understand elements like melody and rhythm, and then put it all back together into unified musical experience. And our brains do all this work in the split second between when we first hear the music and when our foot starts to tap along. But when scientists turn from observing the brains of music listeners to those of musicians, the little backyard fireworks became a jubilee. It turns out that while listening to music engages the brain in some pretty interesting activities, playing music is the brain's equivalent of a full-body workout. The neuroscientists saw multiple areas of the brain light up, simultaneously processing different information in intricate, interrelated, and astonishingly fast sequences. But what is it about making music that sets the brain alight? The research is still fairly new, but neuroscientists have a pretty good idea. Playing a musical instrument engages practically every area of the brain at once, especially the visual, auditory, and motor cortices. And as with any other workout, disciplined, structured practice in playing music strengthens those brain functions, allowing us to apply that strength to other activities. The most obvious difference between listening to music and playing it is that the latter requires fine motor skills, which are controlled in both hemispheres of the brain. It also combines the linguistic and mathematical precision in which the left hemisphere is more involved with the novel and creative content that the right excels in. For these reasons, playing music has been found to increase the volume and activity in the brain's corpus callosum, the bridge between the two hemispheres, allowing messages to get across the brain faster and through more diverse routes. This may allow musicians to solve problems more effectively and creatively in both academic and social settings. Because making music also involves crafting and understanding its emotional content and message, musicians often have higher levels of executive function, a category of interlinked tasks that includes planning, strategizing, and attention to detail, and requires simultaneous analysis of both cognitive and emotional aspects. This ability also has an impact on how our memory systems work. And indeed, musicians exhibit enhanced memory functions, creating, storing, and retrieving memories more quickly and efficiently. Studies have found that musicians appear to use their highly connected brains to give each memory multiple tags, such as a conceptual tag, an emotional tag, an audio tag, and a contextual tag, like a good internet search engine. So how do we know that all these benefits are unique to music, as opposed to, say, sports or painting? Or could it be that people who go into music were already smarter to begin with? Neuroscientists have explored these issues, but so far they have found that the artistic and aesthetic aspects of learning to play a musical instrument are different from any other activity studied, including other arts. And several randomized studies of participants who showed the same levels of cognitive function and neural processing at the start found that those who were exposed to a period of music learning showed enhancement in multiple brain areas compared to the others. This recent research about the mental benefits of playing music has advanced our understanding of mental function, revealing the inner rhythms and complex interplay that make up the amazing orchestra of our brain.
New neuroimaging research shows that visual areas of the brain are activated when people listen to music. Music can bring upon thoughts and feelings, which lead to visual images. There's a documentary on Netflix called Alive Inside. This show is about how music will help Alzheimer's patients with their memory.
What do you think of music?
My heart belongs to music. I love it.
Have you ever had music just hit you in a place that immediately brought you to tears? Music has that power.
Music connects people with who they have been, who they are, and their lives. Because what happens when you get old is all the things you're familiar with and your identity are all just being peeled away.
One resident that barely opened her eyes, she didn't respond. Knew her for 2 years. Once we put the iPod on her, she started shaking her feet. She started moving her head. It was amazing.
Music has more ability to activate more parts of the brain than any other stimulus.
Who am I? Who am I? I'm your daughter.
By exciting or awakening those pathways, we have a gateway to stimulate and reach somebody who otherwise is unreachable.
It can't get away from me if I'm in this place.
It takes me back to my school days. Oh God, that's beautiful.
Does it make you happy to sing for us?
Yeah. I'm crying.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay, so there's Tears of Joy.
The Neuropsychology of music. Amusia is a condition in which brain damage interferes with the perception of music, but does not interfere with other aspects of auditory processing. Congenital amusia is when people are poor at music perception. The reason this happens is because people are unable to differentiate between pitches, which really plays a big part in music perception. This condition doesn't allow people to appreciate music.
Music and culture. Many of us have heard the term music is a universal language, but is it really a universal language? Or is it only universal if you share similar perspectives or cultures? There are universal rules that apply to all music, like pitch and rhythm, to express one's emotions. But there are some rules that are only universal to one's culture. An example of this is Western music has classic, pop, jazz, hip-hop, rap, reggae, etc. All these styles of music follow the Western music tradition, meaning we share the same things like scale structure. Although you may love rap and hate country, all Western music applies the same rules. Someone who is from India and was brought up with raga music would not think that something like rap is music. The Indian raga has a different scale. Than Western music and has 22 notes in each octave, while Western only has 12. The moral of this is that in order to understand one's music, is you have to see it from their cultural point of view.
Musical illusions. Music is a pattern consisting of melody, harmony, and rhythm. As you know, when you pay attention to patterns, sometimes you can be tricked when pieces of the patterns are missing. The following musical illusions can help show us some of the underlying process of musical perception.
The Shepard tone illusion is an illusion that seems to continually rise or fall in pitch, when in reality it is the same pitch playing in a loop.
Is two pitches continuously played in each ear. Pitches are exactly one octave higher or lower from each other. Two tones are played but flip sides of your ear. Participants usually can't tell the difference. Must try at home with headphones.